Hi, it's Joe Tunney here at Honda of Seattle and Toyota of Seattle, and today you're going to get to geek out with me a little bit as we go over in a little bit fuller detail what it really is like buying a pre-owned car in today's marketplace. And Honda Civics, like this one right here, we're going to cover this particular Honda Civic, is one of the most popular cars on the market, but you have to ask yourself a few different things whenever it is that you're looking for a car in this category or in any category. Number one, is a Honda Civic or whatever it is that I'm looking at the right car for me? Number two, how do I know what's a good example of a particular Honda Civic? And number three, after I find that it's the right car for me and I find the perfect one, how do I not get screwed up after that? And so those are three essential steps, because you can either buy a car that's wrong for you, you can buy the wrong version of that car, or you can get the wrong kind of deal. And all of those three things are really bad things, and I'm going to hopefully help you to avoid those pitfalls. Now, the Honda Civic is one of the most popular pre-owned cars going back decades, and that's because it has two major things going for it: incredible quality and incredible resale value. Both of those are huge to your finances. Incredible quality, because you don't want a car that breaks down all the time and costs you a bunch of money. If it costs you a bunch of money, that means you're at work all day long for nothing, just buying stuff for your car because your car won't stay running. If you get a bad deal on a car, and you get a car that you buy for here and it's only worth this down the road, or even if you get a good deal on a car with terrible resale value, then that space, again, that's just wasted money, money that you worked your butt off trying to earn, and you kind of gave it away for nothing. And if you know a few critical steps along the way, you can save yourself a lot of money, buy an awesome pre-owned car, get the right deal, a fair deal, and then enjoy something that's very high quality and won't cost you a bunch of money. Even when it comes time to sell it, the depreciation should be pretty modest. The smartest way to go is to buy a pre-owned car that's a couple of years old. It's taken the lion's share of the depreciation, yet it has all the newest technology, all the newest advances, and many times is under some kind of factory warranty or certified warranty. This is a 2013 Honda Civic. This body style came out in 2012, and it's the same body style today. You'll hear people say all the time that the 2012 is a one-year body style. The truth is, the 2012 didn't sell as successfully as Honda thought it was going to sell, so they wanted to kind of spruce it up for 2013. So the 2013 is really just a kind of spruced up version of a 2012. But mechanically, the actual architecture of the car, it's all the same. Now, this particular car is around $15,000, it says right here, literally, it's $15,627. That's on the higher end of the Civic spectrum because this is an EX model. $12,000 buys you kind of maybe a slightly junky 2012. $17,000 buys you like an EX with leather. I mean, that's a 2013, 2014. So the space between kind of the cheapest one and the most expensive one on the pre-owned market is relatively small. So don't be penny wise, pound foolish and save a couple of bucks and get a bad car when you can spend a tiny bit more and not only get a much better car, but at a car that'll cost you a lot less to own over the long term. I'm going to pop the hood. We're going to start there. Now, this Honda Civic, all Honda Civics of this generation, they have 140 horsepower and 128 pound-feet of torque. Just to give you an idea of what those two things mean, horsepower is once the car's up and running, it gives it more top speed. Torque is once the car is just getting going, that 0 to 60 time, that low-end performance, and so that's torque. I'm going to give you some advice though. Don't worry too much about horsepower and torque figures on any of the economy cars that you're looking at. There's great cars to choose from in this category. There's the Ford Focus, there's the Mazda 3, there's the Chevy Cobalt. There's a wide variety of cars that we sell in this very building. The Honda Fit, the Toyota Corolla, pretty much every single car from Scion, they're all kind of in this same category. And so all of them are really good choices. And so then once you decide which one works best for you and your situation, now we can focus on getting the right version of that car. Now, the first thing that I do whenever I take your car in on trade, if you were trading in this 2013 Civic right here today, I would walk up to the car and, believe it or not, I would feel the curve in the hood right at the back end of the hood where the hood comes up to the windshield. That's the single most important thing that you can do on a car. Seems silly. It's like, well, shouldn't I check the Carfax first, or shouldn't I look at Kelley Blue Book? It seems like those would be the most important things. Feeling this curve tells you about 80% of what you need to know about a car. The reason is when a car is at the factory, they paint it without an engine being in the car, or a dashboard, or a windshield, or anything like that. So the exact same amount of paint can go all the way around the arc. Once a car's already been built, you can't disassemble it to repaint it. So if it's been in an accident, you paint it from the top going down, and the paint can't go all the way underneath this arc. So there's a definitive paint line, some choppiness, some rough edges, something along those lines. You show me a car with some choppiness and rough edges, I'll show you a car that's been in an accident. Since I earn my living buying and selling these cars, I can't rely on things like Carfax since they make so many mistakes. Honestly, you can afford it less than I can. This is your hard-earned money that you're talking about. Why would you want to throw it away because the Carfax says it's okay, but the car is actually a hunk of junk? Now, the other thing that you do on Hondas that's nice, when you pop the hood, you can actually see what's called the VIN sticker. The VIN means the vehicle identification number. It's always exactly 17 digits long. You always see the VIN in the windshield area right there. In the case of this VIN, it ends in the number 6057. So when I look at this VIN number here and it says 6057 as well, I know that this hood was made for this car. If it was missing its VIN sticker, or if it had a different number VIN sticker, then I know it's a replaced hood from a junkyard and that the car's been in an accident. The other thing is, always on all cars, it doesn't matter if you're buying a Bentley, a Honda, or any other brand, it's always shiny on the outside, it's always dull on the inside. The reason is because the last thing they do after they've really put the car together is they put clear coat on the car. So there's lots of clear coat on the outside, but no clear coat on the inside. It would just burn off to much extent anyway on the interior of the engine, but they just don't go through the trouble of clear coating interiors of engine bays. Nobody does. So whenever it's shiny on the outside and dull on the inside, that's good. Whenever it's shiny on the outside and shiny on the inside, that's bad. The reason is that you cannot mimic this kind of paint at a paint shop. You just have to take the fender off and paint the whole thing, so it'll all be the same shade. So you'll see one rail that looks really shiny and one rail that looks dull, and that's a dead giveaway that the shiny one, that's the side where the accident was. The other thing that you're looking for is these screws. Because the screws on the fenders and on the hood, they don't have any clear coat on them, there's very little paint overall, and they scratch very easily. If you see that the edges are all chewed up on these, that means it's been turned by a wrench. If it's been turned by a wrench, then you know that panel's been off the car. There's only one reason a panel comes off the car, and that's because the car's been in an accident. So using Carfax is good. I mean, it's certainly never a bad thing to know more about a car. It's just Carfax is wrong like all of the time. And again, we're not talking about theoretical things. We're talking about your hard-earned money that you worked hard for. Why would you give it away? So 140 horsepower, 128 pound-feet of torque. Every single car in this category is going to have very, very similar numbers to that. The other thing is that the gas mileage. This car gets 28 miles per gallon in the city. It gets 39 miles per gallon on the freeway. Average 32 miles per gallon. Strangely, it actually gets worse gas mileage with a stick shift than it gets with the automatic. That's kind of the trend actually in the car business. Manufacturers as a rule are pretty much phasing out manual transmissions as it is. For example, Ferrari doesn't even come in manual transmissions anymore. It just doesn't work that way. Something that sports car racers always think, God, you got to get the manual transmission option. The manufacturers don't feel that way anymore. They just figure automatics are where it's at. Two things that everybody overlooks whenever they're looking at a car. They say, well, yours is $15,600. I found one for $15,000. It's got the same miles. Everything's the same, so it's a better deal. Okay. The first thing that you need to check, these tires look like they're brand new. How are the tires looking on the car that you're competing this one against? If they're balding or if they're near time for replacement, well, what's a set of rubber cost? $800 installed with valve stems and everything else. And so now suddenly that car's more than this car. Now, when you took the wheels off and inspected the brakes, how did that work? Well, obviously, like 0.0% of customers ask us to take the wheels off the car and inspect the brakes. They just don't think about it. They don't talk about this stuff on the internet. How much does it cost to replace brakes and rotors on a car? $100 to replace that stuff. And it's something that nobody ever asks. Again, I'm not talking about hypotheticals and theoreticals. I'm talking about your money. Make sure the tires and the brakes are where they need to be. Inside, the Civic is a great car, and there are some changes between the 2012 and the 2013. Nice dashboard on these Civics. All the Civics have the same dashboard where it's kind of that two-tiered look, so it's very modern. I know every brand has something going for it, but this has kind of that cockpit jet fighter feel. Where this fits in the marketplace is very much like a cross between a Mazda 3 and a Toyota Corolla. Mazda 3 kind of has that perceived zippiness that the, their zoom thing that they do. The Mazda 3s are not faster than any other car. They're all literally about exactly the same. It's just that's their marketing gimmick, and so people kind of get it into their head that the Mazda's a little bit sportier. But the personality of the Mazda is a little buzzier, it is a little louder, it is a little more visceral, you kind of feel it in your joints and in your bones. And so where the Toyota Corolla is more quiet, more sedate, it's more of an older person's car, very popular with a more mature audience, much more so than the Civic. The Civic has that kind of little bit louder, buzzier feel to it. It feels kind of sportier, it revs a little higher, it's a little bit more raucous when you're under full throttle. But the build quality is the same as the Toyota Corolla. Toyota Corolla and the Honda Civic are the two best built small cars in the world, period. There's no close runner-up. I mean, you can make a case for the Honda Fits going to the 2013 and back models. They're also sensational, but you'll live a long life before you'll hear somebody say, boy, I should have never bought that Corolla or that Civic. It gave me nothing but trouble. It just doesn't work that way. They're just fantastic build quality. So all dealers know that, so you get a lot of dealers that are trying to trick the system to make money on a car where everybody kind of knows the score already. I'm going to jump in the back seat in this one. You can see it's real roomy in the front. Well, it's also real roomy in the back. For a small car, I've got the seat all the way back. At 6 feet, 175 pounds, I'm still really comfortable. And so another thing, a couple of that folks forget, is who's going to be in the back seat of your car. You know, sometimes you'll say well, I've got a teenage son that's real tall for his age, or I want to lay a blanket back there, and I want to bring in my dog. And they never go on the test drive with these variables. I mean, if this is going to be the one that takes your kids to school, or it's going to be your commuter, then take it on a test drive with your kids. Take it on a test drive with the people that you're going to be commuting with. The absolute sin that people commit all the time is when they think that they're going to have a baby and they don't bring in a baby seat, or if they already have a baby and they don't bring in a baby seat, because the way that doors open, the way that you have to reach into the car is different on every single car. And I'll tell you, a whole lot of moms out there that regret the car that they bought because the way that the seating configuration in a particular car works, they end up having to bend over to pick up the baby seat and get it out, and they just break their back every single time, and they don't include the test drive as a part of their lifestyle. They drive it in the way the dealer wants them to drive it, and not in the way that they drive it every single day. Even if you're just expecting a child, I'm telling you right now, get a baby chair and a bowling ball and put it in the back seat and get that thing in and out a few times. Imagine yourself in a tight parking lot. Make sure the door works the way that you think it's going to work. Make sure the car fits in your garage the way you think it should fit. You're under no pressure to do things the way the dealer wants you to do it. You need to go on a test drive the way you want to go on a test drive. Let's jump in the back. Let's jump in front and open it up from there. And so trunk space is another one that's immeasurable. And so people will always say, this has 14 cubic feet of trunk space, where maybe another brand has 14 and a half. Therefore, it's better. Again, what do you use it for? Do you use it for golfing? In which case you need to make sure your golf clubs fit. You don't need to wonder if your golf clubs fit. Just bring your golf clubs with you when you go on the test drive and see if they fit. If you think you're going to go to Costco, and Costco you typically have a few boxes and you got a few from last week's Costco run, then bring those boxes with you and put them in there so you know definitively how it works for you. It's amazing to me that people know every single variable of a car down to like the atomic level, but then they don't do the things that are essential to the actual enjoyment of the car. However you plan on using the trunk, then bring the stuff that helps you understand exactly if it works for you or if it doesn't. Now this is an EX model, so it has fold down rear seats. hard to justify an LX model for that one reason alone for me. I know the EX costs more. It does come with alloy wheels and a moonroof. In 2013 has some other nice features as well. But fold down rear seat just completely changes things. And not having a fold down rear seat also changes things. Imagine you're in a situation where you just go to Home Depot and buy a broom, just something simple like that, and you can't get it home. And so just having a fold-down rear seat, I'm telling you, you owe it to yourself to consider fold-down rear seats, because so many of these small cars don't have them. The reason so many small cars don't have them is, of course, they'd rather you buy the higher margin sport utility version of that same car. And then again, while we're back here, VIN sticker. You want to check every panel on the car and make sure they all have VIN stickers. Honda screws you up a little bit because they don't put them on the front two fenders. For why, I don't know why, but they just don't. Now, 2013, again, a little bit different look on the alloy wheels. They also have a really neat feature, a LaneWatch feature on 2013 and newer models with the big screen monitor. And that's when you turn on your right turn signal, you actually can see what's going on in the right lane. They didn't have that feature in 2012, but they do have it available in 2013. Again, electronic moonroof because it's an EX model, and so whenever you see a moonroof and alloy wheels, you know it's an EX right away. Whenever you hear the term EXL, that means it comes with leather interior instead of cloth interior. Let's turn this car on and see how it sounds. Give it a little bit of gas. So it's not super loud. It's just a little bit louder than, say, a Toyota Corolla, which is the class leader as far as real-world audible experience. When you're out driving in a Corolla, it just feels vault-tight and real quiet. That's just the personality. When you're in a Honda Civic or a Honda Fit, they tend to be a little bit louder. Not obnoxiously so, and also most 99% of people are going to listen to the radio a little bit anyway, and so you don't even think about it. The one thing I want to chat about very, very briefly is after you find the right car and after you find the right deal, please, 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 please. This car is certified, so you know it's already gone through a certification inspection. More importantly, it comes with a warranty from the manufacturer, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. But if you're buying a car that's not sold new by that manufacturer, if I buy a BMW at a Toyota store, if I buy a Honda at a Buick store, or especially if I'm buying at an independent dealer, do not sign anything until you get a buyer's inspection at the dealer who sells it new. Don't do a deal where it's subject to your buyer's inspection. Don't try and get tricked into, oh, we can't hold the car, you need to sign paperwork unless blah, blah, blah. Play this video back to them and say, no, this guy says that I don't have to do it that way, and you don't have to do it that way. Just set an appointment, get an inspection done at the Honda dealer, make sure it passes the buyer's inspection. They're going to charge you an hour. It's about $129. It's the smartest $129 you'll ever spend in your life. Please do not get your buyer's inspection at an independent shop. Do not get your buyer's inspection at a dealer other than the dealer that sells that product new. Why? How many Honda Civics do you think our technicians have seen at Honda of Seattle? In the tens of thousands. They know every possible variable about every Civic problem that there could ever be in the world. They have every dedicated tool for every unique part for every Honda Civic that has ever been made. And much more importantly, we have access to the database that tells us about the car going back to day one, and only a Honda dealer knows a Honda going back to day one. Only a Toyota dealer knows a Toyota going back to day one, and so on and so forth. Please, 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 please get that buyer's inspection. I don't know why people stop getting them. You need to get one. The other thing is the finance office. The finance office is where good deals turn bad in about 2 seconds. The reason is the finance manager is paid a percentage of all the stuff that they can get you to buy. All of it has absolutely no value. Getting something like a clear bra on a 3-year-old car is absolutely crazy. Even if you get it from a detail shop or something like that, how much does it cost to get a bottle of touch-up paint and fill in all those rock chips? $8? How much is clear bra? $600? What is the dealer trying to sell it for? $2,000? You'd have to be out of your mind to spend that kind of money on a pre-owned car. Chemicals, they do absolutely no good. People talk about how bird droppings are going to burn holes through your paint. They're going to do all these horrible things. Your car is going to completely fall apart if it doesn't have all this stuff on it. Do you think the manufacturers of cars these days don't know all this stuff? Don't you think if it had actual value, they'd be shouting it to the world? It'd be on every single TV commercial. Wow, we've got undercoating on the all-new 2016 Civic. Don't get the 15 because it doesn't have undercoating. Only the 16 has undercoating. Come on down and get it. Well, of course, they already have what they need to have underneath the car. If undercoating was a benefit, it would be sold by the manufacturer and they'd make money or they'd sell more cars as a result of it. Paint sealants can be an absolute nightmare. I get the logic of them. You can put spray paint on it, you can set it on fire, it wipes right off. I get all that. But the problem is when you get scratches and stuff like that, how are you supposed to repaint it? And so if it is impervious to being repainted, how are you supposed to fix scratches that are just going to happen in the car's life? Well, I'll tell you how you fix them. You have to sand the paint off of the car. It's a catastrophe. That's why manufacturers don't put paint sealants on the car, because they're bad, not good. Yes, there are a couple of things that they'll resist, but why don't you just wax your car? I mean, go every Saturday, Sunday, every couple of months or something like that. Just put a nice layer of wax on your car. You'll do just fine. And you won't go through the headaches of having to do a big repaint project out of a simple scratch just because you got suckered into buying some chemical that cost the dealership $40 and somehow you spent $1,400 on and thought you were smart doing it. You're not smart. Don't do it. Just say no, 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 no. Extended service contract? Yes, 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 yes. But is there a reasonable price for that extended service contract? Yeah, if you look at our Honda Seattle website or our Toyota Seattle website, we're a one-price store, so you can gauge, even if you're not in our market, you can go to our finance area and look at what we charge for warranties. Yes, we mark them up. We make a profit. It's the real world. We got a $52 million building we've got to pay for. We just don't mark them up very much. We mark them up in a way where we know we're very, very competitive and it presents real value for the customer. The other nice thing about extended service contracts is they're cancelable. So if you decide tomorrow you don't want the extended service contract, you paid too much, it was the wrong move, whatever the case may be, then cancel it. Within the first 30 days, almost 100% of extended service contracts give you 100% of your money back. After 30 days, it's prorated. So even if it takes you a year and it's a 5-year contract, you're still going to get 80% of your money back. So it's not like it's wasted money, where chemicals, clear ball, that kind of thing, totally, totally, totally wasted money. Extended service contract, that's smart. Gap insurance, again, should be pretty inexpensive. It's not $1,000 for gap insurance. $495, $595, $695, depending on how long you want to go, 60 months, 72 months, 84 months. Those are realistic valuations. Also, gap insurance is cancelable. When you want to buy gap insurance, when you're upside down in your trade-in and you trade it in and now you owe a lot of money on this nice car, it gets stolen, you're on the hook for the difference between what the insurance company will pay for and what you're going to be out of pocket for. So it's a lot easier to pay $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 a month than to drop a check for $4,000. Again, after a year or two, once you're caught up and you feel like there's some equilibrium, then just cancel it, get the prorated amount back, and then you weren't on in any kind of jeopardy of being out big money. There's a million things that can go right with a car. There's a million things that can go wrong about a car. I'm happy to talk about those things with you anytime you like. Don't be afraid to drop me an email anytime. I'm happy to advise you, consult you, share with you what we have here at the dealership. Although I am paid for what we sell here at the dealership, I really do enjoy helping people out and making sure they make the most intelligent choices. I think it makes our company look good. Even though, darn it, you bought a car at a different store this time, maybe we'll catch you next time and earn your valuable trust. Please reach out to me. My name's Joe Tunney. You can hit me at joet@hondaofseattle.com anytime, and I'll return your message as promptly as I possibly can. I certainly appreciate you taking a look. Thank you so much.